What is up, everybody? It's your boy. Uh, anyway, um, today is a back day, and it is a pleasant 88 degrees outside, which is honestly surprisingly markedly different than 94, 95. And maybe I'll actually get to mow the lawn one of these days, just because my lawn looks like Vietnam, and it's too damn hot to push the mower around. It's not, but I'm too damn lazy. That's a better characterization. So yeah, we're gonna hit some back today. I did have rack pulls in the program, as you saw last week, but upon some deliberation, my coach thinks that it is best if we take those out, just given how prone I am to effing my back up. And, whatever. And they suck. Let's be honest. They suck. When you're depleted, you don't want to be deadlifting. You don't want to be friggin' wrenching 400 or 500 pounds. It's just not great. It's not a great time. I don't enjoy it. I don't think anybody, is like, oh, I can't wait to go friggin' hurt. It's gonna feel so bad. So excited about feeling bad. I forgot my damned wallet. So I am going to turn around, make a U-E real quick. I did stall out there. If you didn't catch that, I stalled my car because I was in second and I tried to take off a little too rapidly. So I drive a stick shift, I think I'll talk about that in a minute here. Once give me a minute while I go and fetch my wallet, because in my infinite intelligence, I have forgotten it. So I will be right back with you, JDs and Lentilmen. Anyway, today's subject, I think I'm going to talk about a little bit, is cars. As you noticed, my primary vehicle right now is the Beetle that I talk about. And why is that? You're like, it's a diesel and you're just commuting around town. That doesn't make too much sense. And to that I say, you are 100% correct. However, it has really good AC. And my other primary vehicle, which is a 2005 Ford Ranger, also a 5-speed, does not have AC. It was not equipped with AC from the factory. And I could go in and install it myself. I just haven't done it. And, I think that'll be my next big automotive project, actually. Because what I'll need to do is, it has a lot of the hookups. It has the bracket to mount a compressor. I would need the lines, the wiring harness, which I would get from the junkyard, both of those, and then the compressor, the condenser, a new serpentine, and I'd have to charge it. I have all the equipment to do it because I've done an AC system before. It's just something I haven't done. It's something I haven't gotten around to. And all in all, it'll take me about $1,000 worth of crap, maybe less, but probably right around that $1,000 range. It's going to take me probably 3 or 4 hours to do, and that's just why I haven't done it. And every time I think I'm going to do it, it's always too hot and too late to get started. So, I really ought to one of these days, though. But anyway, I really like cars. I like old cars, like I said. And the next thing I really have my eye on, what I want to do next is get a either a classic Mopar or a Thunderbird. But honestly, I might do a Corvair, a Chevy Corvair, a Monza, just because they're cheap. They're not that hard to work on. Parts are readily available. They're out there, and you can get a running driving example with not too much or no rust for less than $4,000 if you look around. Whereas, if I want a Thunderbird, they're just hard to find. They're not that terribly expensive, but they're hard to find the spec I want, which is this 4-door, 67 through 69, because in 70 and 71, it's the same motor and everything, still a 4-door, but they went to pointy front end, which I don't like as much. I like the fighter jet looking front end, which is actually modeled after, I want to say like a B-29 or something, but they had like an aircraft engineer model the front end for him, which is why it looks pretty cool. And yeah, so that's kind of hard to find. Or and I've always wanted to do an old Dodge or Plymouth, specifically a Plymouth. Like I want to do a Plymouth, and I want to put a 413 wedge in there, which is an older big block, one of the first big blocks really that like put out a ton of power. I think the first year was the 62 or 63, and they put it in the Plymouth Belvedere, which sort of made it the first true muscle car because it was a four-door, rear-wheel drive, manual transmission V8, and that kind of is most of the criterion for a muscle car. And transmission notwithstanding, like some people will get into the argument that, oh, it can be an automatic or it can be a stick, it doesn't really matter. Now, to that I say, sure, true, whatever, because nobody's going to argue that a T-Bird four-door, not the two doors, but a four-door T-Bird with a 429 Cobra Jet is not a muscle car because it has an automatic, right? So you're not going to like get into that debacle there. But I think the Plymouth Belvedere, by terms and definitions, was the first true American muscle car, and that's why I want one. Plus, they're gorgeous. They're outrageously fast for the time. They came with what was called the 413 Street or the 413 Max wedge, which is a 413 cubic inch engine, a big block off of the. It's not a Hemi. It's not an LA block. It is, I want to say Y. I don't remember what the designation is, but it's a big block, and they were rated at like, I think they said like, oh, it makes 420 horsepower or whatever they said it was, but you actually get one of those out on the dyno if it's cleaned up and ready to rock, and they're pushing like 450, 500. What they were doing back then is, in order to get around like laws, is they were undervaluing their engines. And so, like, the Ford Cobra Jet was supposed to be around the 429 Cobra Jet, which they put in the GT40 and stuff. 427, 420, they're all kind of the same. It's just how much they bore it out. But that was like, oh yes, why it's rated for 420 horsepower, and then you actually test it. It's like, dude, this is putting out like 500. Like, what the hell are you talking about? And then that is versus like later when they were all like, well, yes, our car makes 200 horsepower, and then you test it. It's like, this is pushing out 165 tops, you know. So, but in the 60s, they were actually undervaluing their vehicles to get around regulations. So there you go. But yeah, if I was, the other thing that I'm looking into is I like trucks. I'm a bit of a redneck myself, but I got a buddy, sort of, met him through Facebook Marketplace, but he's selling a 97 F-250, which was the last year for the OBS, like square body style in the Ford F-250. The F-150, I think the last year was 95 or 94, but and he's selling it for like $2,000. It has AC, factory AC, but it's busted, so I need to fix it. You know, whatever, no problem. Get some new lines, get a new condenser, throw it in there, we're good. But it's got four-wheel drive. It is a 5-speed factory AC, and it is got the 300 straight six, which is probably the best motor that Ford ever put out ever in terms of reliability. They made that pattern, that block, from like, I want to say like the 40s until like 2012. Like they only recently quit making it, and just because it's an immortal design. I mean, straight configuration engines are like your four bangers, your straight sixes, your slant fives, your straight eights. If you get sort of old school, those last because V and W engines are inherently unbalanced. Obviously, I mean, look at them. versus your straight blocks, which there's no the only moment of rotation or moment of torque inside of it that's going to cause a little bit of anger is when your rod is pushing up against the piston, and that sort of grinds against the cylinder wall. But that's just like the way it is. You don't have masses like large. You don't have valves and pistons fighting against each other in lateral ways. Everything is up and down. So they're just a more now fuel efficiency, maybe not so much, but in terms of longevity, structure, and strength, straight cylinder configurations are always going to win. That's one of the reasons why the Cummins 12 and 24 valve are such good motors. It's because they're straight sixes, and they're diesels. Diesels are badass. Diesels just last long. They're better all around in every single way compared to gassers. It's just that fear-mongering lobbying in the U.S. has convinced the general public that they are dirtier, scarier, worse for the environment, and none of that is actually true. They're safer. They're more efficient. They put out less pollutants. And the main reason that diesels aren't popular in the U.S. is because of taxes. You get more miles per gallon on diesel, and it's cheaper to produce. So government doesn't like that because they're not getting their cut. So they don't encourage the use of them. That's it. That's what it comes down to. Anyway, that's enough monologuing for right now. We're pulling in, and I will see you guys after I get some steps in and we start lifting. Welcome back to sticking my ass out moving a bar. I will not film all 3 sets because you don't need to see 10 minutes of me pseudo twerking. If you want to see that, you gotta pay extra. Link in bio. Anyway, let's get warmed up. Oh, you gotta try it. Kills your fucking lats. It's the sussy exercise. Gym girls love it. Alright, getting some pull-ups right quick. Goal is 10, once again, but 2 sets of this. Oh. Back. No, I'm just doing it for the gram. Yeah, no, he's not with us. Second was better than the first. Figure that out. That's the part I'm gonna actually pass out right now. But ooh, got a lot of pull-ups. So we have chest supported, sealed rows. And then I got 90. So that wasn't that hot. Now it's hot. Okay. They're 60. Yeah, you're right. They're upside down. That makes them lighter. Because the gravity, the radius between the Earth. They're not 60. They're 60. Yeah, they're actually 0.6, and it's not even, it's ounces. So they actually float. They have other weight holding them down right now because they're filled with helium. No, no, it's not. I promise. Is it? Nope.
I'm not even gonna lie, it looks like double.
It definitely feels like they are. And there's a dead spot in the top right corner, or the bottom right corner, and that pisses me off because like you'll get the ad and you need to hit the X and you can't touch it because the screen has a dead spot. So. Ow. Alright. So we're looking at is 2 sets of 20 for our classic wide grip rows. And seated cable rows. English not good. There we go. Just gotta hook this up a little bit. Lovely. Alright. I'm gonna go for 180, which isn't like that heavy, but I'm really gonna try to get it back deep, get some good negatives, you know what I'm saying? So, here we go. All right, a little bit too wide for my grip. Sorry. Fix that. Damn. Oh, shoot. Okay. I don't know what's going on today, but strength is just not there. But yeah, I mean, that was 16. I'm going to have to drop the weight and run it again. But not a bad thing, though. I mean, I'm definitely feeling pretty cooked. So, trade-offs. You lose weight, you know, whatever. That's the way she goes. Alright, so we're dropping the weight to a mere 160. Which should be easy if I wasn't about ready to fall asleep on my feet right now. So, I'm also really hungry. I'm tired. I love cutting, honestly. It's my favorite. But it's the price you pay. You gotta pay to play in so many ways. And when it comes to competing and bodybuilding, you gotta pay. That's just part of that fee. Think of it like an entry fee, you know, or a cover charge. But instead of $5 to watch somebody play the piano real crappy and get drunk, it's thousands of dollars, and 4 to 5 months of your life spent miserable for literally 30 seconds to 90 seconds of glory, of which, like, but it's worth it. I don't know why. I can't explain it, but it's worth it, you know? You gotta do it. I mean, I think everybody should try it. If you have the slightest inkling of interest in bodybuilding, give it a shot. And then you can just see, like, if you got it in you, you know? The first show I ever did was, like, the hardest thing physically I've ever done in my life. And this one so far isn't as difficult, but it's not easy. I tell you that. It's not easy. But nothing that's worth it ever really is, right? That's what they say. I think that's bullshit. There's some things that are totally worth it that are totally easy. And then some things that are not worth it that are really hard. So, but that's enough of that. We'll just hit this set. Easier when it's over. Okay. Oh, man. But yeah, it's easier when it's over. I don't know what I got after this. I think it's sorry, I don't know what I have after this. We're gonna find out. Alright, so we got shrugs. But once again, Smith machine. Always taken. It's okay, that's my buddy this time. So I'm not as mad as the soccer moms that sit here on the Smith for an hour and a half. Nothing against soccer moms, but you know. So 12 and 12. And I think the main component that is at risk here is the grip. But damn, I'm tired. I haven't had much caffeine today. I think I had 1 cup of coffee, so. Let's run it up. I think I'll rock the 100s. Not my favorite, just because these are like the wider. They're not one diameter the whole way through. They thicken in the middle. I'm not a fan of that. Because I got little baby hands. So, here we go. Booty cam. That pop, you might have heard it, was both on my shoulders at the same time. That's good for you, you know. All right, one more of those. Mamma mia, here we go again.
As I feared, my grip on my right hand went totally to crap there, so, but whatever. Alright, so 2 sets of 12, underhand lap pulls. Okay, reverse grip. I am feeling frisky. It's probably a bad idea, but I'll go for 200. We'll see how it goes. Holy shit. My grip, dude. It's failing me today. That last rep was ass, but we got it. Okay, so explanation as to why the last set was I was able to get 12. I actually had the pin set at 180, not 200. So anyway, I've dropped this weight to 160, and we're gonna go for another set of 12. I mean, my first clue should have been I was able to ride the weight down. I didn't have to pull myself with the knee pads, but I'm not a scientist. All right, just for burnout, we have our pullovers once again. Geez, that's 25. Super lightweight here. It's only 40 pounds. So let's adjust this so you can see a little bit better. There we go. Not quite. Beautiful. All right. Okay, it's burning. One more of those, and we'll be good to go. Hammering out this last set. Not hammering it out, we're gonna be mindful and demure, and really just get some good squeeze, good stretch, etc. Woo! Yeah. Oh, hit a couple poses. So my lovely little multi-purpose room has been cleaned out a little bit. It's not mine. It's also not a multi-purpose room. It's just a room. But there's some more space in here, which I think is super cool. My triceps are still friggin', I don't know if you can hear any of that. My triceps are still destroyed from arm day yesterday. Destroyed. So we're gonna see how the back hump is looking. Start off with a little front lat spread. Can't really tell how that looks. Oh, it felt pretty good. Oh. Yeah, I got some cool bicep veins coming in, I'll tell you what. Things that I've never seen before. So, coming right across here, kind of coming up the side. Little road map of progress. Both sides, huh? I do kind of like, one thing that I think you don't see a lot of is like the crucifix pose. You know, where you kind of have your bicep not fully stretched, but elongated. Get all your lats to come out. I think that's a cool pose, and you don't see a lot of people hit it. I think it's underrated. Another one is, I think it was Lee Priest used to hit it. He had long hair like me, and he would sort of run his hair through it, or his fingers through his hair and kind of hit it. So I will take the mic off real quick and see if I can imitate it. Kind of. He was getting much lower though. You know, but I mean, these are legends and legends that we can only aspire to be like. But yeah, pretty successful back day, I would think. Not too bad. Anyway, I'll see you guys around. I'm going to do some cardio, and then I'm going to go to the Walmart and pick up some chicken breast and some sweet potatoes, living high off the hog. You know how it is. Later.